Hey, what's up, beautiful people? Today's conversation, I want to talk to you about relationships and boundaries. Now, all relationships are dependent on the individuals. Okay, so no singular relationship is the same as another because no individual is the same as another. So, in your relationships, in the dating phase, in long-term relationships, there always needs to be a conversation or discussion around boundaries. And there are various types of boundaries. There's sexual boundaries, there's communicational boundaries, there's organizational boundaries, there's emotional boundaries, there's financial boundaries, there's couples boundaries. So as a couple, there's certain things that you will or won't entertain, will or won't engage, will or won't intervene in as a couple. Now, let's go deeper. Especially in the dating phase, in the getting to know someone phase, one habit that most of us have is most of us brush things off because we, in an attempt to secure or mature the relationship. So they might do or say something that you're not particularly comfortable or thrilled by, but we often brush it off for the sake of the development of the relationship. Now, subconsciously, what we're doing to our partner is we're affirming to them that I may not be happy with it, but it's okay. Or maybe you're the kind of person that would say, hey, look, I didn't really like what you said, or I didn't really like what you done, but you exercise your point, but it wasn't exercised to the degree that your partner understands how much it affects you or how much it bothers you. So in a way, they still sort of on and off continue to do or say the same things. Okay? Now, we often let these things go because we don't want to cause a problem in our relationship. Now, on a side note, problems in a relationship doesn't necessarily mean the relationship is unhealthy. Problems in a relationship oftentimes mean there's issues that need to be discussed and resolved as a couple. I'll save that for another video. Now, moving forward, where the relationship gets detrimental, where most relationships fall apart or self-destruct from the inside out, is when you get to the stage where perhaps you've moved in with each other. Okay, so you've moved in with each other, there's unresolved boundaries that hasn't been discussed. You've moved in with each other, and now they're doing or saying similar things they were doing before that irritated you, or there's additional things that they're doing or saying, or maybe the way that they organize their life, or maybe the way that they live their life, or maybe the way that they spend their money, or maybe the way that they are when they get in an emotional space, or certain communicational habits that they have conflicts with yours or triggers you or just makes you uncomfortable, right? At that point where you move in, you're going to be living in the same space as a person. That means those little habits, those little boundaries that were never discussed just seems to be propping up all over the place. That's going to cause so much conflict. That's going to make you feel like you made the wrong decision. It's going to make you feel like this person doesn't love or care about you. It's going to make you feel all these different emotions and feelings. Okay? So if you're in a space right now where you've moved in with someone and these things are popping up and you're just sort of confused and upset and unsure, it's not too late. This can be resolved by finding the right time. And when I say right time, I mean finding a time where you and your partner are both emotionally and mentally receptive, right? It's a time where things are going good for you guys. Things are going okay. Maybe in your personal lives or in your career, you're in a good space to have a conversation. You're in a good space to have a discussion. You're in a good space where you're not sort of already having your back up against the wall, where you're not sort of already anxious or going through something, right? It's a good time to have a discussion that can help to benefit the growth and maturity of your relationship. Timing is very important in relationships. And again, I'll say that for another post, but timing is very important in any relationship. Timing is very important in any conversation, okay? Now, if you're in the dating phase where you're just getting to know someone, or you consider getting back into dating, into the dating scene, these are conversations that need to come up at some point of the whole dating phase. The conversation go along the lines of, what are your emotional boundaries? So when you're going through an emotional space where you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed out, or backed up? What do you tend to do? What's your boundaries? You know, what's your expectations of your partner in that sense? You know, or you know, what's the best way to approach you? Do I give you space? Do I come closer? What's your emotional boundaries? What's your sexual boundaries in and outside the bedroom? You know, what kind of person are you sexually? Where do you draw the line? What's your financial boundaries? How do you spend your money? You know, what are you into? What do you believe in? Like, for example, me, I can never justify spending money on alcohol. So if I was dating or married to someone that's out all the time, partying and drinking, that's a big conversation that we would need to have, because though it's their money, we are a couple. So effectively, whatever they go through, I go through. Whatever I go through, they go through. And that's why we have to understand each other's boundaries. There could even be communicational boundaries. How do you like to communicate? You know, what kind of subjects or conversation do you not like or make you feel uncomfortable? You know, in the beginning of a relationship, you will only get parts of someone's boundaries, because oftentimes people don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it. They don't want to come off weird. They don't want to come off insecure. They don't want to come off toxic. They don't want to come off all the different ways. So they'll give you enough, but it's good to have enough, so you understand the person that you're dealing with. You understand the kind of relationship you're going to be a part of. And as you get more into the person, as the relationship grows more, you continue to revisit those boundaries. Saying that, boundaries change month to month, year to year. As the relationship develops, boundaries can change. So there's some things that might be a cutoff now that may not be a cutoff later. There's something that was never a cutoff but will be a cutoff down the line. So revisiting boundaries, resetting boundaries, reassuring each other around boundaries, expectations is very important for the development and maturity of your relationship. So what do I want you to take away from this conversation is talk about your boundaries individually and as a couple. And this will strengthen the development of your relationship. This will actually help you to resolve past, current, and future problems within your relationship. So take a moment, let that marinate, and I'm gonna see you guys on the next one.